Well, welcome back. We haven't been away long, but something quite extraordinary has just happened. After taking a bit of a pasting in today's election to the European Parliament, the French President Emmanuel Macron has now decided to dissolve his domestic parliament, the National Assembly, and hold a snap election. What do you make of that move, Dick?
Well, I hope it's nothing we've said.
Well, maybe it was something that, of all people, the National Rally, the big winners in France, said, because they said the moment they were claiming victory, Macron, you should dissolve Parliament, dissolve the National Assembly, because the people want change. But I don't think anybody expected Macron to then appear on French television and go, "Oh, all right then," which he appears to have done.
That really is astonishing, because like the words weren't out of Le Pen's mouth and he's actually said, well, that's it. So that actually throws everything into a very interesting position. And we knew that Macron was ambivalent about von der Leyen's going forward. That's going to have an effect there. I'm not sure how that effect will work through. How will his voice be heard? Will he have a voice in the council when it comes to selecting the candidate? So this certainly is, it's what they call in America the October surprise. Well, this is the 9:35 surprise here in Brussels.
Absolutely. I mean, come what may, he will still be the President of France after this election, which will be, the first round will be on the 30th of June, the second one a week later. But I can't help thinking he's less likely to be banging on about let's double EU budget when he's trying to see off what appears to be a fairly Eurosceptic mood in France at the moment.
I think that's true. That doesn't seem to me like a winner going forward. And it's actually really, well, first of all, I happen to be a fan of Macron, so it has taken me a bit by surprise. I admire him. I don't agree with him on those issues, on the sort of Euro-federalist side of things. But that really is, I mean, it was astonishing, because we were just finishing our last segment. Swiss television came up and asked what my view was, and it was one of those what moments. So it really is, it's quite extraordinary. It really, it's intriguing, because just looking around here, a number of the media points to my left and to the right, they're actually only getting the news just now. So everybody seems, I look at Mr. Macron's pictures coming up on a lot of screens. So it's a very intriguing development. It really does raise a whole series of questions as to what next, because the big what next we were talking about a few minutes ago was what next in the Commission. This is very, very hard to call now. And of course, Macron had some ideas as to who might be a potential alternative candidate to von der Leyen. It seems to me that I wouldn't be putting my money. We were talking about putting money on things. I wouldn't be putting money there either.
I mean, for the next few weeks, plainly everything Macron does will be through the prism of French domestic politics, for sure. And that must mean that he's going to talk tough about sticking up for French interests in the council. You know, I would be very surprised if he doesn't make some fairly critical noises, or more critical noises, about von der Leyen. What happens afterwards is another matter, of course, because the deal won't be done until a bit later on than that. It won't be done by the end of June. So so there'll be time for things to calm down again.
That depends what's going to happen in the French election.
Well, of course. I mean, if he's faced with a completely hostile National Assembly as a result of all this, well, I guess then he moves on to complete sort of legacy stuff, doesn't he? You know,
well, he has to start thinking of the legacy.
No.
Then you know, it's a very high stakes bet.
Extraordinary.
But I mean, maybe if you sit back and you think of it in his terms, maybe this is just calling Le Pen's bluff.
Yes, there probably is a school of thought that says on a higher turnout and with a bit more sort of focus in terms of what the government of France will be, that voters will vote in a somewhat different way and be less inclined to have a punt on Le Pen's party may be. Although we shouldn't forget how close she and indeed her father before her have got to the presidency of France. You know, it's
Well, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
I mean, and she has been quite remarkably diligent in moving away from her father's legacy. If her name, I mean, she has put a huge amount of effort into steering the ship into a more central position. It's a fascinating development. I was just looking over your shoulder as you were talking. The people are streaming out of the hemicycle to talk about the decision.
Yeah, we should perhaps explain where there's literally hundreds of different journalists from around Europe, all broadcasting tonight from the same space, the Passerelle area of the European Parliament, and we like a horse racing metaphor here on EU Reporter, don't we, Dick? And I'm slightly kind of thinking of Peter O'Sullivan, who every year would say when he was doing the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, it's a veritable Tower of Babel here, as he and his RT colleague were drowning one another out as they described the race at Longchamp. And but like you say, we had, for a while it was very much like that when the news first broke, and suddenly it's all got a little bit quiet as they're all just trying to work out what on earth this means.
Well, if people stick with the EU Reporter, we'll know. And
they will know. That's right. Stick with us, folks. I would say when we're back, because we've just come back a bit sooner than we thought we would. More breaking news tonight. Maybe Emmanuel Macron's will not even be the biggest surprise of the night. We'll find out as things come in. Thank you.